Hello, I'm Jonathan Dunsky, author of the Adam Lapid Mysteries. On this channel, I often talk about crime fiction that I read and enjoyed. And today I'd like to tell you about The Friends of Eddie Coyle, a book by George V. Higgins that was published in the early 1970s. The Friends of Eddie Coyle was Higgins' first book, and it is the only book by this author that I've read so far. And it's a book that's widely regarded as one of the best crime novels of recent decades. And I believe that Elmore Leonard even said that this was the best crime novel that he ever read. So let me tell you a bit about the book, what's it about, and what makes it special. So the main character of the book is a guy by the name of Eddie Coyle, and he is sort of a low-level criminal, middle-aged, and he doesn't lead the sort of glamorous life of a criminal that we sometimes see in Hollywood movies or read about in books on organized crime. His life is very gray and routine as far as his occupation allows, and he does all sorts of criminal things. He sells guns. He drives a hijacked truck, and he has a history as someone who has done a lot of illegal things. And Eddie's in trouble because he was caught while driving a hijacked truck, and his trial is set in the near future. And because of his record, it is practically a sure thing that he will be going away to prison for a few years unless he gets a sentencing recommendation by someone in law enforcement. And to get that recommendation, he turns to an ADF agent by the name of Dave Foley, and he tries to have him talk to the prosecutor or talk to the judge to get Eddie off on a light sentence, perhaps with no jail time at all. But Foley is not the sort of guy who's going to do this for no reason or without something in return, and he wants Eddie to become an informant, to give him information about other criminals so he can arrest them, stop their crimes, and put them away. And this is something that Eddie is reluctant to do because it will basically make him a target, because anyone who becomes an informant in that world in which he lives has a very short life expectancy. And there are various other characters, sort of a gang that does bank robberies. There's another merchant of illegal guns with whom Eddie Coyle has occasionally worked and for whom he sort of served as an agent. And now Eddie has to decide whether he's going to be an informant, who's he going to inform on. And the book sort of shifts between all these characters, the bank robbers, the other gun seller, Eddie Coyle himself, and Dave Foley and his superiors and other people with whom he works in law enforcement. And the entire book, almost the entire book, is told via dialogue. There's very little description. There's very little introspection. It's almost entirely dialogue, and it's the most realistic dialogue that I've ever had the pleasure of reading. And this is one of the things that people say about the book or remark on it, that the dialogue is simply exceptional. And it's a lesson to all writers how Higgins was able to portray his characters so realistically and give him so much depth with so very few words and with almost, as I said, no description. You basically get a sense of who they are, how they act, even how they look in a way through the dialogue, through the way they talk. And because the book is almost entirely made up of dialogue, it's a very quick read, and it's also a short book. The edition that I read was just under 200 pages. So it's a book that you can read in a day. It just flies by. Now, this book gives or portrays both criminal life and the life of law enforcement officers as something very grimy and gray and without any glamour to it. These are just people who are doing a job, whether it's an illegal job or whether it's their job to catch criminals. Nothing seems sacred, nothing seems glamorous, and nothing seems to have any long-term goal or benefit. It's just something that people just go through the motions of doing and then doing again and then doing again, but nothing fundamental seems to change. You catch a criminal, you put him away, someone else will come and take over his position, and then the entire process you'll have to go through it again and then again and then again. So this is not the sort of book that glamorizes crime or glamorizes police work. It's a book that very much puts you in a state of mind that this whole business of crime and the prevention of crime is just something that it's sort of like a hamster running on a wheel. It's something that you just keep on doing without anyone really achieving much of anything. So hardly anyone among the criminals gets rich or gets rich long enough to enjoy it because they're caught. And the cops, even if they catch a criminal, they feel success, but it's not a lasting success because they'll have to go through or do it again tomorrow and again the next day and so on, basically for years to come. So now the book is in many ways a masterpiece, and it's something that I think it's a book that I think every fan of crime fiction should read. And as I said, it's a very quick read, so and it's quite fun and impressive. So I highly recommend The Friends of Eddie Coyle. Pick up a copy, give it a read. I think you're going to like this book if you like crime fiction at all.